Working on that fine control.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm back.
So, um, yeah, so the two topics we've covered so far are having a plan and racing lines. So, the third topic I'm going to cover right now is TVI and crosshair management and alignment. So, I'm going to go back in game. So if you don't know already, the crosshair is pretty much aligned to the nose of your ship, and the TVI is going to be these two little chevrons that are kissing each other, and that's basically the direction that your ship is currently uh, going to or vectored at, speed and direction, mostly direction. So generally when you're flying around, especially in a straight line, you want to keep your TVI lined up with your crosshair. If you can line it up exactly or perfectly as you can, the aerodynamic profile of your ship as well as the atmosphere is going to allow you to achieve the highest speeds possible while flying through a straight line. So in this case, the center dot of the crosshair, you want to keep right in between the two chevrons. If you can keep that lined up as often as you can, you're going to succeed as a racer in terms of speed. So yeah, during the straights, making sure your TVI is set in the direction you plan to go. So in this case, let's say I want to go towards the brake check tower. I want to line up my TVI in that direction, right? So that's what I'm getting at. Making sure your TVI is set in the direction you plan to go. You want to do your best to align your crosshair to your TVI as often as possible. This applies to straight lines. Since you're going to be fighting gravity in this environment, especially in decoupled mode, you want to use constant bottom thrusters in atmosphere to keep your TVI aligned with your crosshair. So, oh, I'm demonstrating things in game, by the way, so I forgot to mention
Yeah, I
that.
see that.
So, yeah, if you're not
Hmm.
already doing so, please watch my Discord stream. So let's say I'm flying in a straight line right now. I'm in decoupled mode. I'm going to let go of my bottom thrusters, and you're going to see that the TVI starts dropping, and now it's below my crosshair. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you're maintaining constant bottom thrusters to keep that TVI lined up to the crosshair. Okay?
Hmm.
Pitching and yaw to manipulate the crosshair onto your TVI, that helps a lot too. So let's say, and right now where I am at, I want to go back to the start finish line. I'll go to the left of it so you guys aren't blinded by all the nameplate soup. So let's say I'm going in this direction. I want to yaw to my left so that I line up my crosshair to the TVI. So let me demonstrate that again. Now I'm going to go toward the brake check tower. So right now my TVI is in the direction of where I want to go, but my crosshair is to my left. So I want to yaw to my right to make sure that my crosshair is lined up to the TVI, right? So pitching and yawing, manipulating your crosshair to make sure that it's lined up to your TVI helps as well. And keep in mind that this is going to be dependent not only on the environment that you're flying in, but also the ship you're flying, right? So, for
Yeah.
example, the ship I'm flying right now, the base Razor, or just Razors in general, they're going to handle great. So, for example, if you want to yaw to line up your crosshair to the TVI, you can do so easily on the Razor. The Razor allows you to do that. In another example, if you're yawing in an 85x at high speeds, you're most likely going to lose control of that ship. It's going to do all sorts of wonky stuff, and you're also going to lose a lot of speed. So just keep that in mind. That's why it's important to fly in different environments and also flying different ships so that you can get a feel of your ship's capabilities and limitations as far as how much manipulation you can do with your crosshair to keep it aligned to the TVI, as well as for example, the 350R has really weak bottom thrusters, so it's a little harder to you got to use more of your bottom thrusters to keep your TVI lined up to your crosshair when flying in a straight line. All right, so that pretty much covers TVI crosshair management and alignment during a straight line. Now I'm going to go over keeping it aligned uh, for a turn. So bottom line, when you're in a turn, you're not going to be able to keep him exactly lined up throughout the turn. That is completely fine. That is normal. So during a turn, what you want to do is you want to snap your TVI back to your crosshair throughout the turn. In other words, during a turn, you're going to be mostly manipulating your TVI, whereas beforehand in a straight, we were manipulating our crosshair and the TVI slightly using the bottom thrusters. So in the turns, we want to use the bicording methods that we learned in class level 1, and you want to boost as well, generally. You want to boost to snap the TVI back to the direction that you plan to go. In this case, you should already have your crosshair pointed in the direction that you plan to go, and I will demonstrate that real quick. So let's
All right.
say I'm at the start finish line, and I want to make a left turn. So right now I'm rolled to my left. Oh, I should get rid of night vision. So I'm pitching up right now, which means I'm rolled, or I'm making a left turn, and you can see that the TVI is now below my crosshair. And once I complete the turn, what you want to do is you want to snap that TVI back to the crosshair as quick as possible, just like that. So I'll use the track itself as an example so you can kind of see what I'm talking about as I'm going through the turns. So I'm going to go through the chicane, manipulating my TVI, using bottom thrusters to snap the TVI back in place. Going through this turn here, you can see the TVI is to the bottom, and now I snap it back to the crosshair using bottom thrusters. I should probably go a little slower, sorry about that. So now
No
going
problem.
back to the under pressure.
Under pressure, yeah.
Yep, and right here, basically what I did there, I'll go through it again, is I used boosted bottom thrusters to basically snap my TVI
It's
back
like
where I wanted it to be
flexing,
as quick as possible. So right now I'm
yeah.
pitching up as hard as I can, boosted bottom thrusters to really just snap that TVI as quickly as possible, aligned to the center of the crosshair. So I'll do that again as I'm approaching this gate right here. You want to use your mains and your bottom thrusters at the same time. That's called bicording. And your boost as well helps. Snap it back into place just like that. So that's just a quick demonstration of TVI and crosshair alignment and management during a turn. And that is pretty much topic 3. So to sum it all up, yeah, in atmosphere, you really want to maximize the amount of time that your TVI and your crosshair are lined up, and that'll allow you to not only fly really fast, but yeah, it's really mostly just about speed. Um, you're going to be flying a lot faster if you can keep them lined up. Whereas if you're flying something like this, where your TVI is to the right and your crosshairs to the left and it's just offset and awkward. It's not only is it harder to control the ship and it's harder to kind of have a sense of where you're going because I'm awkwardly looking to my left as I'm going to my right. But I'm also only going at about 287 meters per second right now. Whereas if I were lined up, right now you could see my speed going up to about 320 meters per second. In the grand scheme of things, when it comes to a main event where it's all focused on survivability, that speed difference doesn't matter too much, but when you're doing a time trial and it's all about speed, you really want to maximize keeping these two lined up as often as you can. So